Well, let me ask you this because I think you've done a fantastic job of saying completely underappreciated for everything HR does. There's one thing that HR does that I really want your outsider's perspective, which isn't as much an outsider anymore, but you have that perspective, is very often, like you said, underappreciated. HR is treated more like a support department. But you and I, in our previous conversations, have really agreed that no, HR is a critical part of the growth engine of the company. It's directly responsible for working and making sure that the right people to create the right high performance teams are on board and a part of this company.
100%. And I think I mentioned it before too, because in the way that legal is also like, it's not a lot of CFOs or CEOs will look at it and say, well, HR is a cost center. It doesn't actually produce any revenue. And my response, same thing with legal. Legal is a cost center, doesn't really produce any revenue. I'm like, that is true in the technical sense, but what they are, they're a cost avoidance center. And the reason why that's so important, and to drop back to the point of the growth engine issue, is that you cannot scale without having an understanding of what that means to your organization, what that cost avoidance and risk avoidance means otherwise. And I've seen it before where the reason why the dam to your growth is HR, because they're either not scalable, they don't have the resources, they're not supported enough to be able to put those people in place that you're going to actually need, and then support them and support their employees to be able to actually grow the way that you need to grow. And it's a shame because if you actually get that balance, the companies who do it right are really good at that. You can see them scaling because they're setting up their HR and they're setting up their risk mitigation and all that to be able to service the next level. So if you're looking at it as a band-aid to like, well, what do we do just to be able to get by and survive and be compliant? Well, it's not going to be a growth engine for you. We're not looking ahead and saying, okay, well, how do I organize this? How do I get the right people in here so that we can actually scale when we get that acquisition and we acquire another 300 employees or whatever it is and all this revenue, really merge that into our organization well. And HR is an intro. I don't think people understand either. I think we talked about it a little bit before of how much of a driver HR is in the M&A process too. And I've done a lot of the M&A in the last couple of gigs. And that HR, if you don't have that right, and I've seen it not right, it'll mess up an integration after the merger or after an acquisition. So I can't stress enough with people, if there's any executive that are listening, and if you are positioned for growth and to want to grow, having the right people, not only in HR, will allow you to have the right people in all your other vital positions, and then to be able to support them too and support the group. That's really the important part. That's, I think, how HR really does help drive the growth in an organization.